Hello. This is Letters to You 71. This one's called The New Practice. Dear Ewan, once I attended a Tai Chi workshop that was literally surreal. The master was teaching us all these strange things, and somehow we were all learning them. We would imagine we could do something, and then we seemed to be able to pull it off. When I arrived, he was wearing a back brace. I thought that maybe it was a strange Tai Chi master extra intense training. When somebody asked him, he said, "Oh, I broke my back last week sledding with my son. The doctors didn't think I'd be able to walk, but I just had to shift the effort to my legs." He would actually throw people around the room. He would often pause right before doing something and say, "That wasn't right. I need to put it more into my legs." Around the end of the Tai Chi workshop weekend, as he was taking questions, a Dutch guy in the back yelled out, "Can you move someone without touching them?" He nodded. Excitedly, I exclaimed, "Do it! Do it!" He picked a guy from the crowd and had him come up and face away from him. "If you can see me, then people will think it was just a mental trick." He pointed at another guy and then pointed both directions with his thumbs, toward the first guy and away from him. "Which way? You have to pick so people know it's not a trick." The second guy picked a direction. The master then did a kind of motion like he was gathering air or energy into his being with both hands, and with the hand closest to the first guy, wiggled one finger. The first guy wiggled and was pulled about a foot closer to the master in the exact timing of his wiggled finger. I think the first guy's eyes were closed too. It was one of the few experiences when reality did not behave by the rules. The master mentioned afterwards that his teacher had him practice some other technique for 10 years as a building block for pulling off moving someone without touching them. ALIFTIMTS and I woke up after our semi troublesome first three way and his first three way ever. I had a little worry and went to the plaza to write my last letter to you. When I got back, we made love and he kissed me like the night before had never happened or hadn't hurt our bond at all. He pulled me deep into long kisses and let them linger. I'm starting a new practice today, one I've never even heard of, and I'm calling it Feel Love, but don't express it with words. And then the command prompts are all in parentheses. So the practice starts with just the acknowledgement that it's starting. Feel love, but don't express it. I thought of the Tai Chi master and how he needed a teacher to tell him to do something for 10 years before he could try moving someone without touching them. I was trying to do something new and I didn't know if it was possible or worth anything. ALIFTIMTS and I were supposed to go to some place about an hour away, but with all the drinking, sleeping in, and perfect lovemaking, we got too late a start and decided to do his normal 10K walk. His watch that tracked our distance had not been charged the night before, so we took my Orange Theory armband and app and decided to just wander. Feel love and don't express it. The walk started, and I was having a slightly depressive brownout. Giving up expressions first hit had me in some low energy. My brain felt numb. Don't express it was pretty much my limit. I wasn't feeling much of anything as I practiced clamping down on expression. My mind wandered to a memory of the cartoon Thundercats from when I was a young boy. In one of the episodes, the Lord of the Thundercats was being tested by his mentor, Tigra. In this episode, Tigra had these strange powers that he hadn't had in any of the other episodes. It was explained that he had always had this power, but it had to build up over a long period of time to have enough juice to work. He had been saving it for years to use it for this test. I took it as a message from Soul. Keep clamping down, plus let the holding in build up. ALIFTIMTS and I picked random directions, scanning the skylines for things he'd never seen, things that looked interesting, and pathways with shade. It was nice. I was being quiet. The vibe was peaceful, even though I felt a little dizzy and disoriented. It was warm, and we were about 2 miles in when I noticed we were more tired than we had been yesterday at the 2 mile point. It's harder to get the steps in as we're wondering which way to go, I said. He agreed, and we laughed, noticing the difference from the day before. We walked down a huge hill toward the river. Keep clamping down, plus let the holding in build up, plus accept the difficulty has some roots in journeying without knowing the destination. I was still browning out a bit and decided to lower the bar for some aspects of the practice. I realized there was some old stuff that was influencing my new practice. The real math was more like keep clamping down, plus let the holding in build up, plus accept the difficulty has some roots in journeying without knowing the destination, and plus don't project onto people without acknowledging that you're talking to yourself. With you, Ewan, I never let myself think about you sexually after the first day. It felt off, like I was violating you. I think another thing that was happening was I didn't want to feel angst around you or toward you. That was okay as a choice, as I was learning to acknowledge the feelings for you while staying in contact with the fact that some of my feelings for you were feelings for me. My projections of you are strangely accurate, more so than with anyone I've met, so it's tricky. I spent weeks affirming that you were a real other person that I could only know that I wanted to know more, and an extremely invigorating mirror of my subconscious, my beloved. I realized that the new practice had stalled out. I wasn't really letting myself think about anything. I decided to open up the list of things I was allowed to think of him: hopeless things, beautiful things, things about the future. I felt more secure about keep clamping down and was definitely getting filled by the let the holding in build up. I changed it. Keep mouth clamped or focused on banter. Plus, enjoy building up. Plus, imagine anything you want about him, the future, and love. I love you. I want to spend every day with you. I let one little thought out into my mind. It was so freaking hard. It was like doing a kind of strange concentration exercise. I knew I was allowed to do it, but my brain just couldn't make the leap. I dug in and thought, I'd love to explore the world for the rest of our lives. Okay, starting to get the hang of this. I can let the imagination that generates my expression off the leash. We would look so good in suits getting married in front of all of our friends. I pictured myself getting down on one knee. And then he said, unprompted, when we get home, I hadn't heard him say that before. When we get home, and electricity ran through my body. We're a we, and your place is our home. He started saying more sweet things to me after that. He started calling me baby. It seemed strangely timed with me letting myself think about marrying him. I started filling up on feelings of love as I would think extravagant and sometimes hopeless thoughts and not say them. I imagined us holding hands. I felt light and like the day was perfect as he kept saying things that were a bit more affectionate than I could remember him saying. He's usually so averse to PDA. I notice that we keep bumping into each other, and I don't think it's me. He says, "Stop trying that homo shit with me." But his smile is so big. Then I said, "You sure let me do some homo shit with you this morning." He beams and we laugh. I notice I've lost contact with bringing it back to myself, my soul. I'm figuring that I can't really lose that, so while I'm learning to juggle with two balls, I can forget the third because it's never going away. Just light banter, plus think anything you want about loving him. I'm letting myself go buck wild on how I feel to him in my mind, but speaking none of it. I speak as we're having conversation, but I never let it go into that place where I'm letting the tethers form. I'm not telling him how meaningful his existence is to me. I'm not going to think the thoughts that the tether wantings create. I'm not going to say them. I'm not going to worry about remembering that all of these feelings are just for myself. Soul led me to try this, so I'm going to do it at the baby level that I can. I slipped up once and told him something I wanted to do to him in bed. He replied, "That was random." I gave myself a little demerit for letting some sexual love slip out. We got back to the apartment after the walk, made these huge collaborative open faced sandwiches, and then he settled down to Netflix his show. And I would oscillate between work stuff and big spooning him. It was wonderful. He always grabs my arm that wraps around him and moves it to a kind of perfect spot across his chest, ending at his opposite armpit. The show is nauseating, and I feel a deep pleasure that I just get to hold him. I'm feeling so full, and the practice is automatic now. I'm right at the point where I want to say, I am full of unexpressed love, and it's amazing. When I peel away to do a coaching call, the call is so intense. I stay in it and it goes well, but lose contact with the feeling of love in me in the visceral way that I was experiencing it. I find him in the bedroom. And then he tells me that we're getting a mulligan on last night's sorta botched three-way. A mulligan is a do-over. Nice. I want him to have a good experience. I do some writing before. I head up and prep for the fun. The guy from last night arrives, and it feels incredible. Everyone was making sure to be in contact with everyone. It was totally redemptive and perfect, and ALIFTIMTS checked in anyway. Was that okay for you? Yes, so hot. He was so happy. We were in that deep sync where believing each other came easy. And then we go out, and he's more affectionate than I can remember. We're around his and my newish friends and laughing the whole way. I'm thinking, I can do this forever. And standing lightly next to him, I'm thinking, people here are looking at us like a couple and bantering with nice people in the bar about my trip. His friend, the bartender, comes around, usually always teasing, and says, "He's the biggest catch in here." And I think, I totally agree. He's grabbing me. He pulls me to stand closer to him. For the first time, we're touching each other, kind of like couples would. I rub his back. He leans into it. We go to another bar for one last drink. I've been teasing him that when he says he's going to bed early, we always end up going out for one more drink. But I don't tease him about anything else. I especially and notably am not teasing him since I started the practice of feeling love and not expressing it. The air of love is so high. We're in a straight bar near our home, and he's letting our knees touch. That's a first. We're playing and laughing. There's a kind of super crescendo, and I experience a cross section of stability and intensity on feeling love slash loving slash loved. And then I think, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to fall into unconditional love with me? Because I think he's falling too. He's falling in love with me. We get up to go home, and it's perfect. I tell him that I think he's coughing a lot lately because we've been sleeping with the AC blasting and not enough water. He lets me turn it off and pounds one of the bottles of water that I bought. We fall asleep peacefully. I haven't heard him cough all night. Back to bed now for me, Ewan. Thanks for listening, Mike.